This message is not for everyone. You should stop listening now if your life has been easy, if nothing has ever been taken from you, if you have never stood in a season where what you loved was stripped away and who you used to be no longer fit, but if you have experienced loss, separation, or a deep inner transformation that you could never fully explain to anyone, then stay. This calling has conditions. And the first condition is that something in you has already died so something greater could live. You did not arrive here by comfort. You arrived here through pressure, through nights where silence spoke louder than people, through moments where you realized that the old version of you could not survive what God was preparing next. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. Heaven does not whisper to crowds. It calls the marked ones through disruption. And the fact that you are still listening tells me you have already paid an entry price others avoided. You lost people, not because you were wrong, but because you were changing. You were separated, not because you failed, but because you were being refined. You felt misunderstood, even by those closest to you, because the assignment forming in you could not be explained at that stage. God often removes explanations before he reveals instructions. And that confusion you walked through was not punishment, it was preparation. Listen carefully now. This is your only assignment from this moment forward, to stop trying to go back to who you were. The old identity, the old coping mechanisms, the old need for validation, they cannot follow you where you are going. You are not here to blend in again. You are here to become precise, singular, focused. Chosen ones are not given many assignments at once. They are narrowed to one. You may have thought the loss meant you were behind. In truth, it meant you were being accelerated. When God removes what once supported you, he is teaching you how to stand in him alone. When he allows separation, he is closing distractions that would have diluted your obedience. When he initiates inner transformation, he is carving space for authority. You are not being emptied, you are being cleared. This is why the pain felt personal. This is why the breaking felt intentional. This is why the shaking touched every area of your life at once. God does not partially prepare his chosen. He does not renovate one room and leave the foundation cracked. When he calls you, he deals with everything. And yes, it hurt, but it also proved you were worth the process. You are not here to chase multiple paths anymore. That season is over. From this moment forward, your life carries one assignment: alignment with what God already decided about you. Not what people expect, not what culture rewards, not what feels safe. Your assignment is obedience. Even when clarity comes step by step, especially when clarity comes step by step. There were moments you felt delayed, moments you thought heaven was silent. But silence was not absence, it was focus. God was narrowing your hearing so you could recognize his voice above all others. You could not carry this calling with divided attention. That is why distractions were removed. That is why relationships shifted. That is why comfort left first. And now, here you are. Still standing, still seeking, still open. That alone confirms something powerful: you were never abandoned. You were being selected. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. This is not poetic language. This is divine order. Known first, formed second, set apart before appearance. Your separation did not begin in adulthood, it began before breath. What you are experiencing now is not rejection, it is recognition catching up to time. You were set apart before you could perform, before you could fail, before you could succeed. Which means nothing that has happened to you disqualifies you. In fact, everything that happened was allowed because of what is coming next. God does not protect chosen ones from pressure. He uses pressure to reveal them. So hear this clearly: you do not need a new assignment. You need full surrender to the one already placed on your life. Stop asking for signs. This is the sign. Stop asking if you are chosen. Chosen ones are not the ones without scars. They are the ones who survived them without losing their hunger for God. From this moment forward, your focus narrows, your obedience sharpens, your identity stabilizes. You stop negotiating with the past. You stop explaining yourself to people who cannot follow you. You stop shrinking to be understood. You move with quiet authority because heaven already knows your name. If this message resonates with your journey, if you know loss, separation, and inner transformation marked you, then take one simple step of alignment now. Like this message, share it with someone who is walking through separation. Subscribe to stay connected to what God is unfolding, and comment 777 as a sign that you accept this narrowing and this calling. Distraction did not enter your life by accident. It came with strategy. It arrived dressed as opportunity, relief, connection, even survival. What nearly destroyed you was not always sin in obvious form. It was noise. It was delay that felt reasonable. It was compromise that felt necessary. It was movement without direction. And because you are chosen, distraction was not random, it was engineered. You must understand this clearly: when darkness cannot stop you outright, it attempts to scatter you. It divides your focus, fragments your energy, and convinces you that progress means motion rather than alignment. You were busy, but not anchored. Active, but not advancing. And slowly, without realizing it, the sharpness of your calling began to dull. There were seasons when you knew what God asked of you, yet you postponed obedience, not because you were rebellious, but because you were tired. You told yourself, later, when things settle. You said, once I heal. You reasoned, when I have more clarity on. But delay is not neutral in the spirit. Delay is a decision with consequences. What you postponed did not disappear, it waited, watching whether you would choose comfort over calling. Distraction nearly destroyed you because it trained you to live divided. One part of you wanted God fully. Another part still craved familiarity. One part longed for obedience. Another feared the cost. And living divided slowly drained spiritual authority. You felt it. Your prayers became quieter, your discernment less sharp, your peace more fragile. Not because God left, but because your attention did. You were not weak, you were overloaded. Too many voices and too many opinions and too many options. The enemy does not need to convince a chosen one to deny God, only to drown out his voice. And he does this by keeping you constantly stimulated but rarely still. Restless but never resolved. There were moments when you felt conviction, clear and heavy. You knew something had to change. Yet distraction softened that urgency. You scrolled past it. You buried it under tasks. You rationalized it away. And each time you ignored conviction, something subtle happened: not judgment, but distance. Not abandonment, but dullness. Conviction is a gift. When ignored repeatedly, it quiets not because God stops speaking, but because the heart stops listening. This is why you must stop romanticizing what almost ruined you. The habits that kept you busy, the relationships that consumed emotional energy but produced no fruit, the environments that normalized spiritual numbness. They were not harmless. They were shaping you away from precision, and chosen ones cannot afford blurred vision. Distraction nearly destroyed you because it delayed alignment. And alignment is everything. Without alignment, effort exhausts you. With alignment, obedience carries you. You were never meant to figure everything out, you were meant to follow clearly. But clarity requires stillness, and stillness threatens distraction. There was a point where God allowed you to feel the weight of instability, anxiety without clear reason, restlessness without cause, a sense of being behind, even when you were doing much. That discomfort was mercy. It was an alarm. Heaven warning you you are drifting. Not drifting from salvation, but from assignment. And here's the hard truth you must face: some distractions were chosen. Not forced, chosen. You said yes to things God never assigned. You carried responsibilities He never gave. You tried to maintain access to people He was already removing. And every unauthorized weight drains strength meant for your true calling. This is why separation became necessary. God began stripping distractions not gently, but decisively. Things fell apart quickly. Doors closed without explanation. People changed without warning. And you thought something was wrong with you. In reality, God was answering prayers you forgot. You prayed prayers for focus, for purpose, for clarity. You are beginning to see now that distraction was not your enemy alone. It was your test. Would you choose the familiar noise or the unfamiliar silence where God speaks? Would you continue scattering your oil, or would you guard it? Chosen ones are tested not by persecution first, but by options. The apostle reminds us in his letter recorded in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. This is not condemnation, this is diagnosis. Instability was not your identity, it was the symptom of divided loyalty. When the heart pulls in two directions, life shakes. Not because God is cruel, but because alignment has laws. God is not asking you to do more, He is asking you to do less with precision. Fewer voices, fewer distractions, fewer negotiations. Your strength returns when your focus returns. Your peace stabilizes when your yes becomes singular. The reason your spirit feels stronger now is because distraction is losing its grip. You are learning that not every open door is permission. Not every good thing is a God thing. Not every relationship deserves continued access. Discernment sharpens when you accept that saying no is sometimes the holiest act of obedience. And obedience, not activity, protects the chosen. You survived distraction, but just barely. And that is why God intervened when He did. Mercy stepped in before delay became disobedience. Conviction rose before numbness became permanent. You were one season away from forgetting who you were, but God would not allow it. Now, your eyes are opening. You see clearly what once confused you. You recognize patterns you used to excuse. You feel a holy intolerance rising within you, not anger, but clarity. You no longer have patience for what drains you. That is not hardness. That is maturity. Distraction no longer defines your future. It exposed your vulnerability. Yes, but it also revealed your capacity to return. And return you did. Wiser, quieter, more aware. From this point forward, Koam, your life will be marked by intentionality. You will move slower but surer. Speak less, but with weight. Choose carefully, because now you understand the cost. You are no longer easily pulled. You are anchored, and what nearly destroyed you will never control you again. There comes a moment when neutrality expires. A moment when standing still becomes more dangerous than moving forward. This is that moment for you. The cost of refusal and the cost of obedience now stand clearly before you, and pretending not to see them is no longer an option. Chosen ones are allowed seasons of questioning, but not lifetimes of hesitation. Refusal is rarely loud. It does not always look like rebellion. Most often, refusal looks like delay wrapped in wisdom. It sounds like waiting for perfect timing, perfect clarity, perfect confirmation. But what you must understand is this: when God has already spoken, waiting becomes resistance. And resistance, even quiet resistance, carries a cost. You felt that cost before. It showed up as heaviness you could not explain, as opportunities that slipped away even though you were qualified, as a dullness in prayer where words felt repetitive but power felt distant. That was not punishment. That was warning. Heaven signaling that you were standing at a fork, and indecision itself was shaping your future. Refusal hardens slowly. At first you feel conviction, then you feel discomfort. If ignored, discomfort becomes justification, and justification eventually becomes numbness. This is why Scripture speaks so firmly about choosing, not because God pressures, but because delay reshapes the heart. What you repeatedly say no to becomes harder to say yes to later. Obedience, on the other hand, does not remove fear, it outruns it. You do not obey because you are ready. You become ready because you obey. This is a truth chosen ones learn only through experience. When you finally stepped forward in the past despite trembling, despite doubt, you discovered that strength met you on the move, not before it. Obedience awakens dormant things. Discernment sharpens. Authority returns. Peace settles in places anxiety once occupied. Not because circumstances immediately change, but because alignment restores order within you. Heaven responds quickly to obedience because obedience proves trust. But you must also face this truth without softening it. Obedience costs you something real. It costs comfort. It costs approval. It costs access to people who benefited from your hesitation. It costs versions of yourself that felt safer but smaller. And that is why many turn back, not because obedience is unclear, but because the price is visible. You were shown glimpses of what obedience would require. Moments where you sensed, if I say yes to this, everything changes. And you were right. Everything does change. Obedience rearranges priorities. It exposes relationships built on convenience rather than calling. It strips away identities rooted in performance rather than purpose. Refusal keeps things familiar. Obedience makes things honest. This is why your spirit has been restless. You are no longer satisfied with partial surrender. Half-yes obedience creates full inner conflict. You cannot unknow what you now know. The calling did not fade because you ignored it. It grew heavier. Calling does not dissolve, it accumulates weight until a decision is made. Heaven does not threaten chosen ones, but it does testify. Life and death, blessing and consequence, expansion and erosion. These are not emotional terms, they are spiritual realities. Every yes aligns you with life. Every prolonged no leaks something vital. Heaven speaks clearly through the words recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life. Notice this: life is offered, not forced. Choice is honored, not overridden. God respects your agency so deeply that He allows you to walk away from what was meant to raise you if you insist. That is how serious choice is. But hear the mercy embedded in this moment: you are still choosing. The door is not shut. Conviction is still alive. Sensitivity is still present. That means refusal has not finished its work. Obedience is still available. You are beginning to see that obedience is not about dramatic leaps, it is about irreversible decisions. Decisions where retreat is no longer an option. Decisions where you burn the bridge behind you, not out of recklessness, but out of clarity. Chosen ones do not advance by keeping exits open. You already know what obedience is asking of you. You do not need a new revelation. You need resolve. The question is no longer, what is God asking? The question is, what am I willing to release to answer him? And here is the promise you must hold on to: obedience never wastes what it costs. What you lay down is not lost, it is transformed. What you release returns with purpose. What you surrender comes back with authority. God is not a taker. He is a multiplier. You are not choosing between safety and danger. You are choosing between controlled decline and unfamiliar life. Refusal feels safer because it is predictable. Obedience feels risky because it is alive. But life, by nature, requires movement. Right now, your spirit is being weighed, not judged, but measured. Measured for readiness, measured for trust, measured for willingness. And what tips the scale is not emotion, but decision. So anchor this moment, mark it. Do not let it pass as just another message. If you are ready to choose obedience over delay, alignment over comfort, life over erosion, then make that choice visible even to yourself. Comment this phrase, "I choose obedience." By writing it, you are not impressing anyone. You are declaring alignment. You are drawing a line between who you were and who you are becoming. Words spoken in agreement carry weight, especially when heaven has already spoken first. Separation from the familiar world does not feel holy at first. It feels disorienting. It feels like standing between maps where the old directions no longer work, and the new ones have not fully appeared. This is where many chosen ones panic, assuming something has gone wrong. But this feeling of being unmoored is not failure. It is instruction. One of the most practical acts of obedience you're being asked to practice now is this: accept disorientation without rushing to escape it. When God separates you, He often removes reference points before He gives replacement clarity. Familiar rhythms disappear. Old motivations lose power. What once defined your days no longer drives you. This is not emptiness, it is recalibration. Your instinct may be to immediately fill the gap, to find something new to attach to recreate structure quickly so the discomfort ends. But obedience in this season looks different. Obedience looks like staying present in the unfamiliar long enough for God to rewire your instincts. Disorientation slows you down on purpose. It breaks automatic responses. Now it forces dependence. Here is a practical truth you must apply. Do not label this season prematurely. Do not call it delay, depression, or confusion too quickly. Ask instead, what is being removed from my reflexes? Because separation is not only about who and what leaves, it is about what loses influence over your reactions. You may notice that your appetite has changed, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Conversations that once energized you now drain you. Environments you once tolerated now irritate you. Entertainment that once distracted you now feels empty. This is not you becoming difficult. This is you becoming precise. Another practical instruction: resist the urge to explain yourself. Separation often tempts you to justify your distance to others. But you are not required to narrate obedience to those who cannot perceive it. Over-explaining is often a sign that you are still seeking permission to obey. Silence, in this season, is not avoidance, it is strength. Accept that some people will misinterpret your withdrawal. Let them. Familiarity often resents growth because growth disrupts access. You are not being cold, you are being consecrated. Not everyone who walked with you can walk into what is next, and trying to drag them along will only fracture you. Practically, this means simplifying your life. Fewer conversation, fewer commitments, fewer inputs. Separation demands margin. If your schedule is as crowded as before, you are resisting the very process God initiated. Leave space. Space for silence. Space for prayer without agenda. Space to notice what rises when distractions fall away. You may also feel a strange grief not tied to one loss, but many small endings at once. Grieve them. Do not shame yourself for missing what God asked you to release. Jesus himself wept at tombs he had authority over. Grief does not negate obedience. It proves attachment was real. Let the grief pass through you without letting it pull you backward. Here is another key practice. Stop trying to regain certainty before moving. In separation seasons, clarity often follows obedience, not precedes it. God is retraining you to move by trust, not by sight. If you wait until everything makes sense, you will stall. Instead, ask daily, what is the next right step, not the full plan? Separation also exposes idols of familiarity, things you leaned on unconsciously. Validation, routine, control. When those are removed, anxiety can spike. Do not interpret that anxiety as a sign you are off path. Interpret it as detox. Your nervous system is adjusting to a new source of security. The voice of God thundered through the words written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. Behold, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Notice the question, not can you control it, not do you understand it, but do you perceive it? Perception develops in stillness, in attention, in separation. You are learning to perceive again, to notice subtle guidance, to recognize peace instead of excitement as confirmation. The old world trained you to chase stimulation. This new assignment trains you to follow resonance. Here is something else you must practice. Do not romanticize isolation, but do not rush to end it either. Separation is a tool, not a destination. God is not isolating you to keep you alone forever. He is isolating you to rebuild you accurately so future connections are aligned, not draining. If you feel unseen right now, let that teach you how to see yourself through God's eyes rather than people's reactions. If you feel quiet, let that teach you restraint. If you feel slower, let that teach you discernment. Everything about this season is instructional if you stop resisting its lessons. As you walk through this, remember you are not disappearing. You are being hidden, like a seed under soil. Growth here is invisible, but it is violent in the spirit. Roots are forming. Stability is increasing. Identity is settling. And if these words are helping you stay grounded in this unfamiliar space, let that matter. Gently, without pressure or performance. You can support this work by liking the message, sharing it with someone who is also walking through separation, and subscribing so you remain connected as this journey unfolds. Not for numbers, but so no one has to walk this narrowing alone. You are not lost. You are separated, and separation, when accepted, becomes strength. Authority is not given to the gifted. It is not reserved for the loud, the visible, or the talented. Authority is entrusted to the obedient and only maintained by those who remain obedient when obedience costs them control. Few stories reveal this truth more clearly than the life of Saul. Saul did not begin as a villain. He began as a chosen man. Scripture tells us he was selected, anointed, and elevated by God himself. He was given opportunity, favor, and position. He stood where many dream of standing, but his downfall did not come through rebellion in obvious form. It came through partial obedience, and partial obedience is the most dangerous counterfeit in the spiritual life. Saul obeyed enough to look faithful, but not enough to remain aligned. In the early days, Saul faced pressure, time-sensitive pressure, enemy pressure, People pressure. He was told to wait for the prophet Samuel before offering sacrifice. But the people grew restless. The enemy gathered. Fear crept in. Saul looked at the situation and decided that obedience could be adjusted for practicality. He acted without permission, convinced that urgency justified disobedience. This is where authority begins to leak. Chosen ones must understand this clearly. Pressure does not change instruction. When God gives a command, circumstances are not allowed to edit it. Saul believed results mattered more than order. He believed keeping people mattered more than honoring God, and that belief marked the beginning of his decline. Later, Saul was given another instruction, this time unmistakably clear. He was commanded to destroy what God declared must end. No negotiations, no exceptions, no trophies. Yet Saul again obeyed selectively. He did what was convenient, spared what looked valuable, and justified it as wisdom. He told himself he was still serving God just on his own terms. Half obedience feels reasonable. That is why it is deadly. Saul kept the appearance of obedience, but God looks for alignment, not optics. What Saul spared externally revealed what he refused to surrender internally. He wanted authority without full submission. He wanted divine backing without divine order. And heaven does not function that way. The tragedy of Saul is not that he failed, it is that he refused correction. When confronted, he explained, he defended, he shifted blame. He feared people more than God. And in that moment, authority transferred away from him, not dramatically, not publicly, but decisively. The prophet spoke words that still tremble in the spirit, as recorded in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 23. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king. Notice the weight of that statement. Saul did not reject God outright. He rejected the word of the Lord, instruction, direction, order, and that rejection cost him authority while leaving him seated on the throne for a time. This is one of the most sobering realities for chosen ones. You can retain position while losing power. You can look appointed while being disconnected. Saul continued to rule, but the Spirit departed. He remained visible, but his discernment collapsed. Fear replaced confidence. Jealousy replaced peace. Insecurity replaced authority. When obedience breaks, authority does not just weaken, it distorts. And this is where the warning becomes personal. You are not listening to this by accident. This section is not history, it is instruction. God is showing you the cost of half-yes obedience so you do not repeat it. You are being trained for authority that cannot coexist with negotiation. You may recognize pieces of Saul's struggle in yourself, moments where you obeyed mostly, where you delayed slightly, where you kept what God asked you to release because it still looked useful, where you feared losing people, status, or stability if you obeyed fully. That recognition is not condemnation, it is mercy. Because unlike Saul, you are listening. Authority is fragile when obedience is conditional. God does not revoke calling easily, but authority is another matter. Authority flows where trust is complete. That is why some people remain gifted but ineffective, anointed but restless, positioned but powerless. The leak is not talent, it is surrender. Saul wanted to be right and liked. Obedience requires choosing alignment even when misunderstood. It requires trusting that God sees what people never will. And it demands releasing the need to control outcomes. Here is the redemptive difference between you and Saul. You are still teachable. You are still sensitive. You are still willing to examine where obedience has been partial. That means authority can be restored, increased, and protected if you choose differently. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be whole, Undivided, fully yielded. Authority does not grow in fragments, it grows in surrender. This is why the pressure has increased recently. This is why the instructions have become clearer. This is why you are being asked to obey without guarantees. God is not setting you up to fail. He is setting you up to carry weight without breaking. Do not repeat Saul's mistake of valuing what looks good over what God said. Do not keep trophies from battles God told you to finish. Do not adjust instruction to protect comfort. The cost is too high, and your assignment is too significant. If this warning lands heavy in your spirit, if you sense God calling you from partial obedience into full alignment, mark this moment. Comment 999 as a sign that you release half obedience and choose full surrender. This number represents endings, an end to negotiation, an end to delay, an end to divided loyalty so something higher can begin. Endurance is not learned in crowds. It is forged in silence. This is the stage of the calling few talk about and even fewer endure well, the season where nothing seems to move. Prayers feel unanswered, and resistance increases precisely because you are doing what is right. This is where many chosen ones misunderstand what is happening and assume something is wrong, when in fact everything is being secured. Silence is not absence, it is containment. God often goes quiet when He is building weight within you. Words would relieve pressure too early. Explanations would weaken formation. So He allows quiet not to confuse you, but to strengthen your internal structure. You are learning how to stand without applause, without reassurance, without constant feedback. This is endurance training for the soul. Spiritual warfare intensifies here, but it becomes subtler. It is not always loud attacks. Often it comes as weariness, as questions that sound reasonable, as thoughts like, is this worth it, or did I miss here, or why is nothing changing? These are not signs of failure. They are signs you have entered a level where perseverance matters more than momentum. You must understand this silence tests motive. When God is quiet, you discover whether you were obeying for outcomes or for alignment. If results were your fuel, discouragement sets in quickly. But if obedience was your anchor, you remain steady even when fruit is delayed. In this season, God is teaching you how to endure without external reinforcement. You are learning to draw strength from conviction rather than confirmation. This is dangerous for the enemy, because a chosen one who no longer needs validation cannot be easily manipulated. Warfare here often attacks identity. Old labels resurface. Past mistakes try to speak louder than present obedience. You may feel unseen, unrecognized, nor forgotten, but obscurity is not erasure, it is protection. What God is forming now must be shielded until it can carry exposure without distortion. You are also learning restraint, not reacting to every provocation, not explaining every silence, not defending every decision. Silence teaches you where your strength truly comes from. You begin to realize that constant response was draining you. Now measured stillness restores you. Measured stillness. There will be days when endurance feels boring rather than heroic. Repetitive obedience. Faithfulness without emotion. Showing up without excitement. This is where crowns are guarded. Many lose ground not through dramatic failure, but through quiet quitting. You are being trained not to quit when nothing feels rewarding. Spiritual warfare in this stage also targets patience. You are tempted to rush God, to manufacture movement, to create outcomes prematurely. But anything built before its time collapses under its own weight. God delays not to deny, but to fortify. Remember, this delay does not mean denial, and silence does not mean disapproval. Heaven measures progress differently than you do. While you count visible change, God counts depth. While you watch doors, God watches roots. There is also grief in this season, a strange grief for versions of yourself that no longer exist. You cannot go back to who you were before obedience clarified you, and you cannot yet fully step into what is next. This in-between space feels narrow, but it is holy. It teaches you how to live without escape routes. You may notice that fewer people can understand you now. Conversations feel shallow. Old connections feel strained. This is not arrogance, it is differentiation. God is refining your frequency. You are being tuned to hear and respond to Him above all else. The enemy hates endurance because endurance cannot be rushed, tricked, or intimidated. It simply continues, quietly, faithfully. And every day you endure without turning back. Authority deepens even if visibility does not. The ancient words recorded in the letter to the Hebrews speak directly into this stage. As written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36, you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. Notice the order. First done the will of God, then endurance, then promise. The promise is not withheld because God is cruel. It is protected because you are being prepared to carry it without losing yourself. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are enduring. And endurance is proof that obedience has taken root. This season is sealing something permanent within you, something that will not collapse under pressure later. Let the silence finish its work. Let the warfare sharpen discernment rather than drain faith. Let endurance do what excitement never could. When this season ends, and it will, you will not just move forward, you will move forward unshakable. Crowning does not happen in public first. Deployment does not begin with applause. Before heaven positions you before people, it seals you in the unseen. What you are stepping into now is not ambition fulfilled, it is assignment activated. This is the moment where everything that has been stripped, refined, endured, and obeyed converges into readiness. You may have expected this stage to feel triumphant. Instead, it feels sober, grounded, weighty. That is because true authority does not rush forward announcing itself. It settles. It stabilizes. It knows it has nothing left to prove. You are not being crowned to be admired. You are being crowned to carry responsibility. The crown you receive is not decoration. It is alignment. It is the internal agreement between heaven's decision and your obedience. That is why this moment does not come with fireworks. It comes with clarity, a quiet knowing, a sense that turning back is no longer possible, not because you are trapped, but because you are positioned. Deployment begins when you stop asking where you belong and start recognizing where you are placed. You are no longer searching for purpose. Purpose is now expressed through you. The questions have shifted. Instead of "what is my calling?" you find yourself asking, "How do I steward this faithfully?" That shift marks maturity. You will notice something else: fear no longer dominates your decisions. It may still appear, but it no longer commands. That is a sign of crowning. Authority does not eliminate fear, it outranks it. You have learned through endurance that obedience sustains you even when outcomes are unclear. That lesson now becomes your foundation. Deployment also does not mean immediate visibility. Some are sent into influence quietly. Others are placed into environments where integrity matters more than recognition. Torchbearers are not always on stages. Sometimes they are placed in systems, families, workplaces, and unseen corners where light is desperately needed. The size of the platform never defines the weight of the assignment. You carry something now that you did not carry before containment. You can hold truth without needing to broadcast it. You can hold authority without asserting it. You can hold responsibility without resenting it. This is why heaven trusts you with more. Capacity is proven not by hunger alone, but by restraint. Do not be surprised if people begin to respond to you differently. Some will feel drawn without knowing why. Others will feel uncomfortable without explanation. Light exposes without effort. You are not sent to convince, you are sent to reveal. Your consistency will speak louder than your words. There will be moments when you are tempted to look back at those who walked away and wonder if the cost was too high. It was not. Nothing that left could have survived where you are now, and nothing that is ahead could have been entered without the separation behind you. The path makes sense only when walked forward. As you are deployed, remember this: stay low, stay clean, stay obedient. Authority is maintained the same way it is given, through surrender. The moment you begin to rely on past victories rather than present obedience, drift begins. You are crowned daily, not once. God is not sending you out unguarded. The same hand that refined you now covers you. The same voice that corrected you now guides you. You are not stepping into exposure alone, you are stepping into agreement. The ancient words recorded by the Apostle Paul speak directly into this moment of sending. As written in the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." Prepared beforehand, not improvised, not reactive. Your deployment was planned before your resistance, before your failures, before your endurance. You are walking into something already prepared. This means you do not need to strive to make impact. You need to walk faithfully. The works are already set. The doors are already timed. Your role is to remain aligned enough to recognize them when they open. You are a torchbearer for this generation, not because you are louder than others, but because you stayed when others quit, because you obeyed when others negotiated, because you endured when others numbed themselves. That kind of light does not flicker easily. And if this message has walked with you from confusion to clarity, from separation to positioning, let it matter, quietly, sincerely. You can support this work by liking the message, sharing it with someone who is walking through their own narrowing, and subscribing so you remain connected as these assignments continue to unfold. Not out of obligation, but out of alignment. Communities form when callings recognize each other. You are not wandering anymore. You are deployed. You are not proving yourself. You are stewarding trust. You are not waiting for permission. Heaven already gave it. Stand where you are sent. Carry what you have been given, and walk forward knowing you were prepared for this. You do not need a dramatic ending here, because what is unfolding in you is not meant to feel finished. This is not a closing chapter. It is a pause where breath is taken before movement continues. What matters most has already been planted, and planted things grow quietly. You may walk away from this message and feel no rush, no urgency, no pressure to perform. That is a good sign. It means the words have settled rather than stirred. It means something inside you has recognized truth without needing to react loudly. Realignment often feels like calm, not adrenaline. From here, life will keep happening in ordinary ways. Conversations, decisions, small moments of obedience that no one applauds. And yet, those moments are where everything you heard becomes real. Nothing more needs to be added. Nothing needs to be forced. If this message stays with you, let it. If it fades for a while, that is fine too. Truth has a way of resurfacing when it is needed most. And if, at some point, you feel led to like it, to share it with someone who might need it, you can do so freely without pressure, without obligation. What is meant to travel will travel. For now, simply continue forward, quietly, faithfully, attentive to what comes next.